Good evening and welcome to the briefing room. I'm Madhavdas Gopalakrishnan. Viewers, one of the most trending buzzwords in Indian politics today is Gen Z. Those who are born between the years 1997 and 2012. And today, politicians and social groups are making an outreach to the Generation Z, a group that could soon become the biggest societal bloc by 2029. Today, it was the RSS Sarsanchalak Mohan Bhagwat who led the RSS's outreach to the youth and Gen Z. The RSS chief was seen interacting with Gen Z in an outreach program in Mumbai, where Mohan Bhagwat assured that RSS stands with the youth and Gen Z. Further, he also took a conciliatory tone with Gen Z protesters, as he maintained that protest is just a way of dialogue and one cannot say that agitations are wrong. He says that while earlier generations worked by listening to elders, the Gen Z asks questions and seeks logical answers.
आंदोलन भी एक डायलॉग का तरीका है। हम यहाँ बैठ के बात कर रहे हैं, इसमें समझ में आ गया ठीक है, नहीं तो हमारा डिबेट चलेगा। डेमोक्रेसी में प्रोटेस्ट भी कॉन्सेंसस बनाने का एक तरीका है।
Did I ever say same manner?
No, sir.
No.
No.
LGBT or whatever, they are all part of the society
Thank you.
which we belong to. कि जेन जी अगर एजिटेशन कर रही है तो एंटी नेशनल तो है नहीं, अपने लोग हैं, अपनी नेक्स्ट जनरेशन है
जी सर।
इस अपनेपन से डायलॉग का साथ मैंने बोला अपनापन चाहिए, संबंध चाहिए, वो हमारा संबंध है क्योंकि 6% बजट एलोकेशन की मांग तो पुरानी है और हम उसका समर्थन करते हैं।
बढ़िया है।
हम तो
बढ़िया
एजुकेशन वगैरह में जाने वाले लोग नहीं हैं, लेकिन ये मांग उचित है ऐसा हमको लगता है, उस पर इम्प्लीमेंटेशन होना चाहिए।
Now let's get to some of the key takeaways of the RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat's message to the youth in Gen Z before we tell you why all of this matters. The first takeaway is that Gen Z is not anti-national. Second, protest is a way of dialogue. Third, takeaway is that Pakistan is not a permanent enemy. Takeaway 4, can't talk with Pakistan amidst conflict. Takeaway 5, LGBTQ community part of society. Takeaway 8, law and order can be made for companionship. There's another takeaway that says back the 6% budget for education demand. Takeaway also is that employment is not just about jobs, also that should not politicize a reservation and that role models must exercise self-discipline. Remember, this outreach follows the Prime Minister's message to his own ministers to increase their presence on youth-centric platforms like Instagram. The Prime Minister's series of statements assuring them of action in paper leak cases have also been through Instagram itself. Now, this shows the importance all sides are giving to the youth of the country. Let's also explain to you in detail why Gen Z has now become not only the talk of town, but also drawn the attention of all political parties as well. Let's take a look at what is the age group we're talking about. The age group that we're talking about is of the age group between 18 to 32 years. So this is the age group that is going to become the most important age group in the upcoming election. What is the population in India? The population of this particular group is that we're looking at is between 37 and 40 crores. So between 37 to 40 CR. This is what we're looking at. And this is, of course, in terms of years. Now, what really is this in terms of the share of Indian population? That is at 25.1%, which means that in the 2029 Lok Sabha election, this is going to be the demographic that will matter the most. We'll explain in further detail in a short while. But while on one hand you have the RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat interacting with the Gen Z in an outreach event, on the other hand, you also have Rahul Gandhi, who has repeatedly interacted with student protesters over the course of the CJP protests. Just earlier today, the leader of opposition also put out an Instagram story, an AMA, which stands for Ask Me Anything. And it wasn't just that. Today, Rahul Gandhi also broke his silence on the students' protest in Jharkhand, days after the protest broke out over the exam irregularities that played out in the state. Rahul says that any state government, regardless of which party is in power, must work towards the improvement of the examination system. So it's clear now that all sides are paying special attention to Gen Z. Let's also tell you what the projected share of voters as far as 2029 elections is concerned and why all sides are looking at wooing the Gen Z voters. We'll quickly, in fact, get you those numbers as well. So let's take a look as far as Gen Z itself is concerned. What is the percentage? Gen Z, as we just told you, is at 25.1%. Now, this is a projection as far as 2029 is concerned. What about millennials themselves? Millennials are at 23.6%. This is the second big group that we're talking about. That is, of course, millennials, and they are, of course, at 23.6%. Gen X, the group that is older to them, is at 15.5%. This is also very, very important because this is a group that is, of course, believed to be closer to the age group of 50 to 60, which is, of course, in them. And those who are older than them, the boomers are, of course, also there, but not as important electorally speaking at 7.7%. Those before this or younger than this or 17 years and younger are, of course, Generation Alpha. They're also a growing segment. But clearly, just look at the way the numbers are stacked up. Gen Z by far will be the most important when it comes to the 2029 Lok Sabha elections. That's Lok Sabha elections. And that, of course, ladies and gentlemen, is why this is an extremely important issue, politically speaking. But one can't forget the impact of the Gen Z vote that we witnessed just recently. In the state of Tamil Nadu, for example, this was one of the first states where the impact of the Gen Z voters was not only seen, but also scripted history. The first factor, Vijay's party ended a 50-year-long Dravidian duopoly. The second factor, Vijay's TVK secured 68% of votes amongst the first-time voters. The third factor, that DMK and AIDMK fared better in the 40-plus age group, but yet lost. Very important number over there. And that's what makes Gen Z so important. Factor 4, TVK won despite a poor performance in the 40-plus age group voters. So by 2029, Gen Z will be the biggest voting bloc, which is why their decision will be crucial in any electoral mandate. Let's tell you about the trend of Gen Z voters as far as the last two Lok Sabha elections is concerned as well. Now, let's look at the numbers in terms of the various parties. Let's look at, of course, 2019, 2024, and, of course, the change. Okay, so this is the change, whether it is positive or whether it is negative. That's what we're essentially trying to look at over here. So we look at the Congress party, and of course we look at the BJP. How have the numbers really added up as far as these two elections are concerned? In the 2019 elections, the Congress got 20% of the Gen Z vote. In the 2024 elections, they got slightly better at 21%. But in terms of the real numbers, the BJP has a huge chunk. The huge chunk was at 40% over here in the 2019 election. This has slipped just a tiny bit to 39% as far as the 2021 elections are concerned. So here, while it is +1, here the change is -1. But if you're looking at the current CJP movement, could this fall be a lot more rapid for the BJP? And how will the BJP be able to arrest this fall? Because they certainly can't afford for a huge number to be added to Congress's share and a huge number to be deleted from the BJP share. And therefore, this becomes extremely important for the BJP to retain particularly the hearts of the Gen Z voters. Let's quickly open this up to our viewers. Let's take it across to Tuhin Sinha, of course, of the BJP's national spokesperson, Professor Rakesh Sinha, RSS member with us, Dr. Nishant Anand is Congress's national spokesperson, and Faizan Kidwai, Samajwadi Party's national spokesperson, also with us. Let me start first and foremost. Nishant Anand, finally Rahul Gandhi breaking his silence on the Jharkhand protests. There's news coming in that he's even spoken to some of those protesters. But the large question is, why did he take so long? And B, is this essentially the battle for the Gen Z voter that we're seeing Rahul Gandhi, we're seeing Mohan Bhagwat and everyone really battling up and preparing for the next Lok Sabha polls? Dr. Nishant Anand.
Good evening to all. See, first of all, Rahul Gandhi and Congress party, when this Andolan started in Jharkhand, we made it very clearly that we are against any paper leak. It doesn't matter which state and which government. Now, before we discuss about Mohan Bhagwat and the RSS, I want the viewers to understand that what is RSS and what they actually do. See, in an India where a street vendor must register, where the temples and the gods must account for every single rupee in their donations, and all citizens have to file a tax return. The RSS is completely exempted. They have no accounts, they have no legal registration, they have zero legal accountability. See, there is only one organization in India except RSS, which was D Company. They are not registered. Yet the RSS asked for a Z plus security at taxpayers' money while they're claiming to be the protectors
Look,
of Hinduism.
Nishant, I am not stopping you from making any comment against the RSS, but today let's come to Gen Z. I think we have limited time, and let's come back to the entire issue of Gen Z. You may have problems with the RSS, no issue. The RSS's funding is certainly an important issue politically speaking, but let's come back to the subject at hand. How are you going to tackle this outreach? Because Mohan Bhagwat has also made a lot of positions, a lot of changes from what we've seen coming in from the government in the recent past.
See, over the decade, roughly 94,000 government schools have been closed down under BJP. That is an average of 25 schools every single day. It's causing a 2.26 crore in government school enrollment that has been dropped. The youth of this country asked today, I have seen the videos, we do not want your lectures, they want your accountability. What have they done? The same event was happened in 2026, 2020 and 2020. This is the third event. Nothing has changed. 5 education ministers have changed. When the Andolan happened, which Mohan Bhagwat is saying it is a dialogue in today's time, they were beaten. They were lathi charged. There was AK-47, there were pellet guns have been charged. And now we know Home Minister and the Prime Minister.
But Dr. Nishant Arun, if that were true, then you would have done very well after the 2024 elections. If you were getting all these Gen Z voters, why has that not translated into votes?
See, I will not point out about the voters and the Gen Z and the millennium right now. The point is that the RSS is trying to say that Andolan is a dialogue which happens between the youth and the government.
Sir, the Gen Z fight is for the fight for votes of 2029. Okay, anyway, let me bring in Tuin Sira. Tuin Sira, the point is this. There's been a lot of negative messaging as far as Gen Z is concerned. You know, those who are calling them anti-nationals, those who are calling them Pakistanis on social media, so on and so forth. We've seen the statements of Mr. Nitin Nabeen, of Mr. Limai, etc. coming in from the BJP and from the RSS. So is Mohan Bhagwat's statement today to try and atone for those kind of statements which may have...
Madhav, good evening, everybody. You know, as you rightly mentioned, Gen Z would occupy more than 20% population in this country, potentially 25%. So there is no way anybody would make any demeaning comment upon them. But fact is, you know, there is a Gen Z in Jharkhand which has been protesting for the last 13 days. It took Rahul Gandhi 13 days and a whole lot of negative, you know, a whole lot of probing on his intent to finally make a vague statement that education system needs to improve everywhere. So that is the reality of Congress party. For them, you know, they tend to bifurcate, like they have created a division between our freedom fighters, and your freedom fighters. They have also, in the last few weeks, tried to create a divide between students, our Gen Z and your Gen Z. So for them, you know, the students protesting in Ranchi who don't utter cuss words, who don't demonize the Hindu faith, who don't raise slogans for freedom, who don't raise slogans in favor of Sharjeel Imam, are second-grade Gen Z students. And that is what we condemn. Modi government knows that India enjoys a certain demographic advantage today, demographic dividend as you call it, which will peak in 2041 and which will also cease to exist from 2055 onwards. And all our policies, whether it is Startup India, you know, today India has 141 unicorns. How many unicorns did we have in 2014? Less than 10. 23,000 athletes have benefited under Khelo India program. Did the Khelo India program, and you know, this shows in the improved performance in our you know, Commonwealth Games and all the Olympics. So our commitment to Gen Z is unequivocal, and we will not tolerate Congress party, you know, creating a divide even here, like they have done on previous occasions. And let the Congress spokesperson keep blabbering ad nauseum on RSS. That is the reality. You know, you have a Priyanka Gandhi who in the debate in Parliament calls the IIT Madras director Gaumutra Rakshak. A person who is grooming Gen Z to occupy some of the best positions in the world. You have Rahul Gandhi saying, calling half the Gen Z idiots and andabaks.
But may I ask you a question? Tween, one second. Before, let's not have a shouting match. There are two more panelists who have not yet spoken. But allow me to ask you this question. Today, the RSS chief says that Andolan is also a form of dialogue. A very, very important statement here, Tuhin, because somewhere it appears the RSS chief is underlining the need for dialogue with this segment and the absence of that dialogue in the run-up to these protests. Finally, it was resolved through dialogue, but it went on for over 3 weeks without a dialogue.
Why?
Tuhin.
Madhav, we are committed to dialogue with all genuine students. But if CJP, I mean, let's be honest, CJP is a subsidiary of Aam Aadmi Party. You know, you also know it. So, you know, when student movements are disguised as quasi-political movements, when Aam Aadmi Party wants to reinvent itself, we are ready for any genuine student dialogue. And we are committed to it. There are, you know, I can run you through tons of schemes of Modi government from where the youth have benefited. The total number of medical seats, 55,000.
All right, and there's a confirmation coming in. I just mentioned a short while earlier, the LOP has spoken to the Jharkhand protesters. Better late than never, perhaps. But the question that is being raised, Faizan Kidwai, is why has Rahul Gandhi, who as LOP represents all opposition in this country, why has it taken him so long to realize that Jharkhand students' cause is also something worth fighting for? Over nearly 2 weeks, 13 days, I believe that these students have been protesting through rain, through sunshine, not even a tent that was allowed to be pitched, holding a tarpaulin, eating very, very basic food. Those are the difficult circumstances under which, and there is, of course, one of those, Mr. Mahato, who's on hunger strike as well.
Good evening, Madhav. Good evening to you and to the fellow panelists. See, as far as Mr. Gandhi is concerned, the Congress spokesperson would be better to answer this. But since you asked in Jharkhand, Madhav, what I read that at least 16 people have been arrested and the protesters, they haven't been lathi charged. Nobody has called them Soros agents. Nobody has called them anti-national. And even the government wants to indulge into a dialogue with them. They have been formally invited to meet the chief minister and discuss their problem. So I'm sure things are moving in the right direction. Unlike what happened in Delhi, where pellet guns were fired, Supreme Court's recommendations were not followed of how to deal with protesters. Young students, they were called anti-nationals, and this speaks volumes about
Faizan,
the intention of Bharatiya Janata Party.
The BJP perhaps rightly has been accused of not engaging the students in dialogue for about 20-21 days. At Jantar Mantar, the students have not been engaged in dialogue with the Congress party, with top leaders of the Congress party, who is in alliance with the JMM there in Jharkhand. That's the only comparison I'm drawing. And I think it's a fair one to draw.
I got your point, Madhav. I got your point. Now, there's a question to Tuhin. Tuhin just said there are 2-grade, 2nd-grade Gen Zs. I mean, my friend, who gives you the right to differentiate, and how do you differentiate between 2nd-grade Gen Zs and 1st-grade Gen Zs? Those who support Bharatiya Janata Party, for you, they are 1st-grade Gen Zs. Those who want legitimate rights, those who want accountability, those who want transparency, then you call them, you start abusing them. This is the entire ecosystem of Bharatiya Janata Party. That's the reason the Gen Z, millennials, Gen X, or whatever you call, all of them, the people collectively at large, have stood up against this dictatorship of Mr. Narendra Modi. The more you abuse the Gen Z, the stronger these protests got, and that's the reason that the arrogance of this dictator, finally he had to surrender to the legitimate rights of the citizens. Madhav, let me bring this to your notice, that today Mr. Bhagwat gives this clean chit. First of all, nobody was asking for his validation, that you people have the right to protest. You are not anti-nationals. Sir, if you actually believe in this, then first of all, what about this RSS man? There was this TJ Mohandas who said, if I had the power, I would have shot the protesters dead. He even
let Professor Rakesh Sinha answer that. Professor Rakesh Sinha, we live in a democratic country. Why does it have to take Dr. Mohan Bhagwat to come out and say such things? Because there have been extremely offensive things that have been stated by Professor Mohandas, for instance, in Kerala. And at the end of the day, it's quite clear that there is some amount of concern at the highest levels of government. The Prime Minister's own repeated outreach that we are seeing on Instagram, that we're seeing on social media, and this huge program that has been organized by the RSS today.
You know, civilization is not dependent on a particular generation. It is a multi-generational relay race. One generation gives certain things to next generation passes to another generation. So Mohan Bhagwat's today's dialogue is a expression of the progressive mind. He also proved that RSS is above politics and it is a bipartisan. Therefore, I consider that we should not breathe in every line politics. We need certain depoliticization. Indian politics needs certain depoliticization. That's why today yesterday Prime Minister advised the Member of Parliament to spend 2 hours in the library. Because nuisance values is increasing across the political spectrum. Those who are making nuisance, they are making the news. They become the agenda setter, newsmakers. It is not the question of one party. That's why Prime Minister's advice is very valuable. That members should gain some knowledge, and knowledge liberates the person. Here, Mohan Bhagwat has given 3 important things. That the process of dialogue in India has been a traditional dialogue of Shastrat. If we engage the people of the next generation, believing that they are the honest people, they are our own people, they are our children, then the crisis will not emerge. So, and second
so where has the
thing
failure
that he
been? Is that an admission of failure
democracy
then?
In democracy.
Professor Sinha, is that an admission of failure of dialogue then?
Let me complete Mohan Bhagwat. Yes, I'm coming to that. One important thing Mohan Bhagwat said that the movement is, the agitation and movement are part and parcel of the democracy. Having said that, he quoted Babasaheb Ambedkar, you should not miss it. Where Babasaheb Ambedkar said that during the colonial era, we used the violence, we used the civil disobedience. But after independence, we should take the constitutional means. Here, Mohan Bhagwat indirectly excludes all those people who wanted to use the Gen Z for political reasons. And I see the opposition parties are not interested in their problems. They are interested in using Gen Z for their own political cause. Please don't do that. They are the honest people. They raise the very honest demand. And Mohan Bhagwat endorsed that.
Okay.
Education.
I'm taking that question across. Let me put that question across. In fact,
the last question to the Congress. Last question.
Quickly wrap up, sir. There is limited time. Yeah.
Just a last question to the Congress.
Okay,
Has Congress party given to the government any alternative view on the education? Last 15 years, the Congress party has no alternative
Are all
view.
parties playing politics at the end of the day? Faizan Kudwai, quick response.
That has finally, yes, it's the power of Gen Z who have finally made these RSS people praise Babasaheb and the Constitution and the flag. We all know what their opinion was about the Constitution, about Babasaheb, about the flag. So, sir, this concern for Gen Z is as hollow as your love for India. You people were subservient to Britishers, and that's your ideology.
Faizan Kudwai, what has your party done for Babasaheb Ambedkar by that yardstick?
Madhav, please let me put this question to RSS and the Bharatiya Janata Party individual.
No, please answer my question. I am asking a specific question. You are accusing them of lip service. Please tell us what you have done.
A 17-year-old boy, a whistleblower who was called a Soros agent by a DD Sarkari channel Chamcha of Narendra Modi, did Narendra Modi or Bharatiya Janata Party
One second. We are not discussing media ethics here. We are discussing the larger issue of Gen Z. Let's not get into personal issues. Let's keep our dialogue a little civil. You are accusing them of using Babasaheb Ambedkar as a political prop. I am asking you, what have you done concrete as far as Ambedkar is concerned?
Babasaheb, we had utmost respect, still have the utmost respect for Babasaheb.
What have you done? Everybody has respect. Who will say they don't have respect?
So what we have done, what do you mean by what we have done? We have
to
shown
honor
respect
his
to
memory.
Whenever,
what have you done?
We have always honored Babasaheb's memory. His Jayanti is always celebrated.
Give us one concrete scheme. Give us one monumental concrete scheme that you have implemented. That's all I'm asking you.
Let us come to power, Madhav. Let us come to power.
You have been in power long enough. You were never in power. Come on. Come on, Faizan. Your party has never been in power.
Madhav, let me put this question to Bharatiya Janata Party. At least, unlike Bharatiya Janata Party.
Okay, 2 in quick response. Just 20 seconds. What have you done for Babasaheb Ambedkar? Respond to him.
Madhav, I really don't understand Samajwadi's party's, compulsion to play the sidekick to Rahul Gandhi. Now, he accused me, my friend Faizan accused me of dividing Gen Z into 2 parts, but the fact is it is Rahul Gandhi who in parliament used words like idiot and andhbhakt for half the youth of this country, and Samajwadi party did not even condemn it. Samajwadi party did not seek apology from Rahul Gandhi.
All right.
Priyanka Gandhi calls the
We seek
mentor, one of the
apology
biggest
from the
mentors
All
of
right,
Gen
we are
Z.
completely out of time. Gentlemen, I have to come in right now. Tuhin Sinha, as well as, of course, Faizan Kidwai, Dr. Nishant Anand, and Professor Rakesh Sinha. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us on this segment. On to story number 2.